Chad Ike's Courage Barbell, back again with another video. I just recently got asked by a couple people, how do I unrack the bench press with reverse or neutral grip? And I thought it would be a good video. So let me start by saying, if you like this video, if you're learning and getting some stuff out of our videos, please like the channel, please subscribe to the channel, and please share the channel with people you think might like it. Even if you want to cut a little clip out and throw it up on whatever social media you have, that would be much appreciated. And I thought that I would go over bench unracking for regular grip and if you do a neutral or reverse, because unracking the bench is actually hugely important, especially when you want to bench press the absolute most weight that you can. And there's two big thoughts on this one. First one is conservation of energy. You don't want to spend a lot of time or energy unracking the weight. You want to save that energy for the actual bench press. And number two is technique. If you have to get out of position to unrack the weight, it's going to be really hard to get in position, especially once you get into the heavier weights. We want to keep the technique as tight as possible. Again, the goal is to lift as much weight as we possibly can. Quite honestly, strength is a little bit of a byproduct. We have to get stronger, yes. But my goal isn't to get stronger to lift the most weight. My goal is to lift the most weight possible. In order to do that, you have to conserve energy. You have to have good technique. You have to be in the right positions. Then you have to fix your weak points and get stronger and all the other stuff. But you need that foundation of solid technique to be able to show your strength. If you're really strong and you can't show it, well then what was the point? Let's start with rack height. I see a lot of people want to put the rack high, and they actually have to get out of position to unrack the weight. And again, once you get out of position with a really heavy weight, you're going to have a really hard time getting back into position. So what I'm talking about is you should have your shoulders fully retracted and depressed. If you have to unrack that weight and you have to go up here and then try to get back here with weight, it's going to be really hard because those scaps are going to be pressed against the mat, against the bench with weight on them. So it's going to be really hard to retract them back together now. At the same point, if it's too low, that's going to make you waste a lot of energy to unrack the weight. So we really need to find that middle point. And again, that's going to be different for everyone. Unfortunately, if you train at a commercial gym, you might only have a few options because they don't adjust like this bench. This bench, I have more adjustments where I can find my best positions. And I've gotten to where I would rather err on the side of a little low than a little high. I can have someone hand off to me, which will help when it's lower. If it's too high, it's too high. Even if somebody hands off, he can't pick it out of the rack and then give it to you. You still have to help him out of the rack, and if it's too high, you have to come up. Another factor we got to deal with along with the rack height is actually where you're going to set up on the bench. And we need to make that consistent so that we can get a set rack height, and then you're always setting up the same. Because if you set up further down or you set closer up higher, that's actually going to change the rack height. If you get the rack height perfect when you set up right here, then if you set up down here, it's going to be so far above, you're going to have to lift up high to get it out of the hooks. So we'll go over that in a minute. Right now, first, I want to go over the height. Okay, so I'm set up in my position right now. What I want to be able to do is I want to be able to have my scaps retracted, shoulders depressed. I should be able to reach this bar just fine without letting my shoulders out. Now what I want to do is I just want to push up with my triceps and be able to go right here. So if I push it into the back of the rack, boom, I'm set right there. So this way I don't have a whole bunch of travel. I don't have to push it. I can clear the hooks. And again, when I'm heavier and there's more weight pushing down on me, I want to be able to clear those hooks even with heavy weight. So don't forget about that either. As you get stronger and bigger, there's still a pad on this bench that you're going to be pushing into. And as there's more weight, your shoulders are going to sit in deeper, your elbows are going to compress, not much, but a little bit. Now, if I was to set up, way down here, it's really hard for me to not let my shoulders come up to try and get it. Otherwise, I can't hardly get it out of the hooks. So I had the right rack height, but I set up in the wrong position. So let's jump back to the positioning on the bench again. As you just saw, when I came way down here, I would need the hooks lower. But you also saw how far I got to pull it up and then bring the weight down into position. And that also means when I'm done, now I've got to come up and try to push it into those hooks, which is not a safe thing to do, because how much weight can you hold up here when you're laying down? So our goal here is to be in a position where I can unrack the hooks and be, I don't know, what is that? Maybe 5 inches. Where when I unrack it, I'm about 5 inches out from the hooks. This way, I don't have to try to unrack it here, which is going to be very hard because I'm going to try to come out like this. If I got it here, I can keep my shoulders down, just use my triceps and lats and go bam, and I'm right here. So that's more efficient energy-wise, but it's also a lot safer. Say I barely get my last rep, and now I got to go like this. What if I miss the hooks or something? I have no strength here, especially after a heavy set. Even if I have a heavy set and I go, I struggle to get it out, all I got to do is this, and I can control it the whole way back into those hooks. So being set up closer is more efficient with energy, plus it's way safer. Now, when you get heavier and you do need someone to hand off to you, do you want that handoff guy to have to go, huh, and hold it out here where he can't help you much and he's straining his back? Or do you want your handoff guy where he can get here and go, this way he can use his legs, his glutes. He's going to have some stress on his back, but not trying to go out here. I used to one-man handoff 900 plus pounds, but it's because we set up right, so all my guy had to do was go, and it was right there. So I didn't need as much help. It was much safer for him and easier for him. So when you set up on this bench, and even here, my head's barely on the bench when I come up on this one as high as I need to be, but it's still fine. It doesn't matter. And another point is, if I miss a lift, this bar can't hit me in my neck, because honestly, my neck is up above this rack, which again is another safety feature. So if I set up right here, say I'm really heavy by myself or something happens, I go like this. Ugh. Well, at least I didn't just kill myself and decapitate myself on my neck. It's still on my chest. And again, here, even if I go, shit, man, I can't do another rep, I can still get it back in and control it. I'm not just going to throw it all the way back and then lose control of it, hoping I hit the hooks. I can still come up here and go and lock it back in safely. All of the benches I just demonstrated was with a regular, normal grip for the bench. The two questions I had on Instagram were about the reverse grip or the neutral grip. And the reverse grip is literally reverse all the way like this. I'm not a huge fan of that one. I have don't have very good supination flexibility. I prefer a neutral grip where I ride the bar right here. This makes it really easy on my shoulders, allows me to be in a good position, works the shit out of my upper back, and just hammers my triceps. The problem with that grip is it makes it a little harder to unrack it. But not if you do it correctly like we just described. So basically, it's pretty much all the same. I will say that when I go with my neutral grip, I prefer to have the rack just a little bit higher because I don't go quite as wide. So when I turn my hands like this, they turn in a little bit, which if I'm here, I mean, just look at how my height is going to change as I go wider, which is another factor when you set the rack up. Are you doing your regular, always the same bench grip? Maybe you're going narrow. If I go narrower, I go a little higher on my rack. Here I am, set up. I'm going to do my neutral grip. So I'm going to come in here, get my grip right, my shoulder blades are retracted, my shoulders are depressed. All I'm going to have to do is push up and come out right here. If I went reverse, another factor to think about in all of this is if I bench regular grip, this is where I'm going to start. So right now I'd be really close to the pins, or the rack I mean. If I go neutral, I'm going to start here. So you can see I'm a little further away from the rack now, a much safer distance. When I go reverse, you can see I'm even a little further away. Also, if you think about your wrists, if I'm here to unrack it, if my wrists are here, I have strong wrists. You want a big bench, work your forearms. We got another video for that. So even if I'm here and I'm a little low, I can take it off like this, no problem. If I'm like this, and now I'm here, look at all this stress that's gonna be smashing my fingers in. So if I'm in a neutral, I need to be more in this position so I can just push it and take it off. So I'm not putting this stress on my forearms here. And the same thing, if you're reversed and you're trying to unrack it like this, good luck. Like you're gonna have an insanely strong thumb to come out like this. But now if you have it here and you can just go boom, it's much easier. Really, this isn't that complicated a thing. You just got to take some time to slow down, think about it, think of all these factors. It's just mechanical physics. Look at your wrists, your forearm, your hands. What's the most efficient, easiest way for me to unrack this weight so that I can put all of my energy into the press? So again, the main factors. Making sure you can keep your technique while unracking the weight. So that's going to depend on the height of the rack and the position of the body. We also want to look at efficiency of how far we move the bar out. We only want to move it out what we have to. We don't want to have this huge expenditure of energy and safety going all the way out. So we want to, once we get the height, we need to put the body where as close as possible. And then those two are going to have to, they're going to play off of each other. So you need to get your position, get your height, get your position, recheck your height. Good. And again, it should be easy. You all have these holes here. Once you figure your height out, you always just use the same height. Keep in mind, as the weight gets heavier, and if you get to the point where the bar bends, that's also going to be another factor where you may need to, it may feel like it's set up a little low when it's light, but it's lighter weight and you'll be able to deal with it, but it'll be perfect when you hit that maximum of wherever your weight is. The other thing is the safety factor. Again, my neck is always above these uprights because I'm not bench pressing up here. I'm not coming down here. I'm down here. So I don't have to have, I mean, if that rack is right here, it shouldn't matter. I mean, even if you're a bodybuilder, you're probably gonna hit more here. So why would my neck be exposed? Why do I want all this distance to unrack the bar? I want it to be as efficient as possible to help me keep the technique, help me save energy, and make me as safe as possible. So I hope that helps. I hope that's easily explainable and you kind of saw how I take it off. I'll run through a couple more. I think I can do them all again at this height, just to give you guys one more run through of it. So when I'm setting myself up, I prefer to go from the bottom and push up. So I'm pushing up. That's my position right there. So if I'm gonna go regular grip, my scaps are already retracted, my shoulders are already depressed. My low back is tight as hell, holding them in that position. I'm gonna come up here, get my grip, get all set. Right there. Re-racking's easy, unracking's easy. It's not this huge distance. If I'm gonna go with my neutral grip, same thing. Scaps are set, back set. Get my grip. Up, right into position. No waste of energy. Right back into the rack. Same thing if I go full reverse. Nice and easy, nice and efficient. So if you're down here, and you're having to reach way up to hit the bar, grab the bar, and you're having trouble trying to get it out of the rack. Actually, this really isn't that hard. But if I had 300-400 pounds on here, it would be work just to get up here. And now I gotta pull this weight all the way out into position. And by the time I lift it up here, the first thing my shoulders are gonna wanna do is undepress and get under the bar. Now I'm here trying to get myself back into position and just wasting a ton of energy. And then when I go, 10, oh God, I can't get another one. Now I gotta go, fuck it, I gotta go. I just gotta let it and hope I hit the rack, which is pretty unsafe. Hopefully that helps you guys out and at least gives you a starting point. The one thing about strength training, lifting weights, there's certain rules that kind of apply to everybody, but everybody's different. We're all gonna need our own little tweaks and our own little things. So don't ever be afraid to think, to try new things. Don't ever be afraid to go with your own style, because just because everyone does it doesn't mean it's right for you. But I hope that this gives you a starting point to kind of look at this and find the one that fits for you and think about those key elements: energy, safety, technique. Those are going to be three things that are going to be important to everyone, that everyone wants to optimize. So like I said, please like the channel, please subscribe to the channel, please share the channel. Please check out Courage Barbell Unlimited podcast on Spotify, Google, Amazon. We're now posting them on this channel. I'm trying to record them and post them on this channel as well, to just make it easier for you guys to find it and watch it, please check out couragebarbell.com. I got more stuff I need to get up, but everything's getting shipped out and getting to people when they order. Until next time, I'm out of here.